Hey,
Hey, how's it going?
it's going good. It's going good.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
Happy Live Art Experiment Day.
I know we made it to another month, another live art experiment. So
Indeed, indeed.
happy to be
This
back.
is water. This is not vodka.
Good. Thanks for clarifying.
Yep. In case anyone was wondering, this is water.
Okay, now we know.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing really good. I'm glad that it's finally spring. I feel like the sunshine changes everything across the board for me. So happy that there's sun. There's birds chirping in the background right now. So appreciate that as well.
Love it.
Um,
So what's our theme this month, Natalie?
It's women empowerment to celebrate Women's History Month, and I wore my shirt, which I think I was wearing when we came up with this idea. You're like, I think the theme is like your shirt, right? Empowered women, empower women.
Yes, right.
I think that's an important mantra as we, move forward. The next generation, I think, is important to empower women, and I think we should hold each other up. There's a lot of things in this world that could potentially tear us down, but I think women are strong and they stick together and they're stronger together. So empowered women, empower women. I had to wear the shirt today.
Love it. I love it. You want to give everybody a rundown of what we're about to experience?
Definitely. We didn't introduce ourselves though, for people that are watching that might not know.
I am of no consequence, but you may introduce yourself first.
Okay. My name is Natalie from Dream Chicago. I know everything is labeled on here, but I feel like for formality, we need to say that at least, right? Okay. Did you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Maui. I'm with Echo Theater Collective as well as Reflect Media. Hello, everybody.
Yeah, I'm happy people are joining us tonight. So a quick run through what you were saying. So the live art experiment is our response. It's actually been a year, going on a year now that we've been doing this as a monthly collaboration. It's a come as you are style show, virtual, of course. People are watching from Facebook right now. And it's a way for us to connect as artists in a time where we're, very virtual, sometimes separated. These are artists, these are dancers, visual artists, musicians, artists of all mediums that don't necessarily know each other. They come together on this platform and they improv. So it's all organic. That's the experiment part. It's just live. It's just coming. They're inspiring each other. They're empowering each other as we keep going. And then there's a little bit of a discussion afterwards just to share our experience and to talk a little bit deeper around the theme. So I don't want to talk too much about women empowerment because I want the artists who are all female identifying, by the way, for this show, to inspire each other as they perform. And so none of their art forms have been prepped beforehand. They're showing up as their authentic selves in this moment right now. And they're just gonna go off of each other's energy and we're gonna have a good time. So I'm looking forward to watching it unfold with you guys.
Alrighty, I love it. And without any further ado, shall we introduce our artists?
Yes, I think it's time. Okay, so I said I'm Natalie from Dream Chicago, and Dream Chicago is actually owned and operated by women. So to celebrate, we have the founder of Dream Chicago, Heather Treadway, on today. Hey, Heather! I'm so excited to see you on this kind of platform. I know we spend a lot of time together dreaming, and so I'm happy that you're showing up as an artist today because I know you're also a really talented artist. So
thank you. I'm delighted to be here. This is like my favorite Friday of every month.
Favorite Friday? Ooh, that's saying a lot. Thank you. And these are actually, so the other folks on here, in the rule, so the rule of live art experiment is that when I invite people on, I don't share who else is on, but actually by coincidence, these artists do know each other. They just didn't know until this moment that they know each other. So these are dear friends of Dream Chicago that we're about to bring on. So we have Victoria Storm. She's a music therapist, and she will be here doing her soundscapes with her piano and a little bit of Mike, but actually Heather will be doing the lyrics and the spoken word to pair together. So they didn't know this until just now, which is really exciting.
Awesome.
To introduce them in this way.
This is great.
We have written some songs together, but it's been a while, so this will be fun.
Right. I didn't know this beforehand. And we also have our friend Michaela Ruff. She is a local art teacher. Hey, Michaela.
Hi, guys. Thanks.
You guys see her pottery wheel right in front of her. She is our first potter on Live Art Experiment. So I'm excited to see what's going to be created with ceramics today. And last but not least, our friend Rebecca, who also happens to be a roommate. So we're going to do a quick little screen share time.
I like the way you slid in. Like, hello.
Yeah, that's how she's the movement person.
I didn't see the whole thing, but I moonwalked from the other side.
She definitely moonwalked. I saw from the corner of my eye as I was introducing her, which is why I saved her for last, so I wasn't completely thrown off. So these 4 talented and empowering women are going to create live right now, so I can stop talking and the art can start happening. We're going to start with Victoria. We'll start with some music, and then Heather will layer on with her words, Rebecca and her movement, and Michaela with her ceramics. And we're just going to go for about 10, 15 minutes or so. It's organic, like I keep saying. So whenever you feel like it's naturally fading out, then the art experiment part is over, and then we'll get a little discussion in too.
Yep. And for those of you who are watching, feel free to put comments in the chat. Make sure you show love to our artists, but also if you have questions or interesting insights or uninteresting insights, I don't need to put a label on your insights. Feel free to put them in the chat, and we will put them up on the screen and talk about them.
Cool.
It'll be lovely. All righty. Whenever you are ready.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah. Break legs, everybody.
Shall we dance, ladies?
Yeah, moonwalk.
Let's do it.
This is such a fun group, though. I'm actually really excited to create with you ladies. This is so cool. We've never done this.
I know. Me too. You're so close too. Like, oh,
Gotcha.
So when I'm look towards you, I'll be looking at the computer so I can see you, and when I'm looking at the piano, obviously I can't. So just a little bit of awareness of my spatial sort of stuff here. But let's give this a try.
That was amazing. Oh my gosh. That was so good. Excellent job, everybody.
Well, thanks, Maui. That was fun. Nice being with you all.
Absolutely. Let me unmute. Yeah. Okay, there you go, Natalie.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow, guys. I was watching from the other room and I was like in this meditative state because that was so restful and calming. Thank you. I'm also reading our live Facebook comments, which I know Matt always does a good job posting for us. So we're watching. Maui and I, both our moms are watching, which is always like,
Yes.
oh, thanks for
Mama
watching.
Angelou,
Mama
and
Angelou.
my mother, the Reverend Dr. Marion Hatcher.
The Reverend and Mama Angelou.
Terrell Ruff said, "You go, girl." Miss Ascarday gave heart emojis.
Marissa.
The kids are loving watching you on TV, and Mackenzie won't stop doing ballet right now. Aww.
That's Michaela's daughter. That's really cute.
Lexi Meyer said, love it. Donna, Mama Angelou said, exquisite. Jesse LaRose said, it was so good. All caps on the so good. And then comparable Jess Howard said, so beautiful.
Perfect. Jess and Jess. The double
Jess.
I love it. We love them both. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
With you.
Looks like
Heather, we didn't get to hear anything from you.
I'm so curious to know what she's writing.
Well, I wasn't sure if I was supposed to come in.
Yeah, no.
I was waiting for you to sing, honey.
Yeah, we were waiting for you.
Yeah.
Well,
you want to share what you wrote?
Yeah, I'm going to share. I started with a blank page, and this is very much not my songwriting process. So I feel like I kind of wrote this prosy sort of response to what Victoria was playing. That could certainly be turned into song lyrics, but that's not the shape that it's in right now. But I'm gonna just go with what came. This I do in remembrance of the many, the chosen, the few, you, the women I knew who knew me back, who took the chance, a second glance, and with one look said, you are worthy. Look up. You are enough, the stuff of holy fire. This I do in remembrance of you, the teachers, the reachers, the poets, the preachers, the sick and the well. You, the ones stained with light, pained with darkness, wrestling angels and demons alike. Thank you for the fight. Thank you for the foresight, the forthright way. You saw me and said, you are worthy, look up. You are enough, the stuff of holy fire. Daughter, sister, mother, lover, other, wonder no more. You are radiant. You are painted with desire, insatiably related to everything wondrous, holy, and true. You.
Wow. And that came out of that. That's why I call her the word guru. That's incredible.
Nice.
Beautiful. This might be my favorite. Oh my goodness. I think my mom has watched every single one, so that means a lot coming from her.
Mm-hmm.
Heather, I didn't realize I was still on mute. That was so beautiful. Gave me goosebumps.
Oh.
Michaela, feel free to keep sculpting if you wanted.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
You could keep muting me too if this is.
No. We'll keep you unmuted. We'd love you to be able to communicate for sure.
Victoria, I felt when you were playing, like I was just sort of seeing this string of sort of like the DNA of women, sort of like going back through time, and like it was like this cascading waterfall taking me back to like mothers, sisters, teacher, people that I knew, and then even thinking about women having the foresight to know what we, might need, or what, like just this real interconnectedness of what it is to be woman in the many different ways. We're not all like expressing that the same way or living that the same way or embodying it the same way, but it was like this sort of I don't know why, but like this strand and cord of DNA that was just flowing in and out about just how we're all interconnected. And I just kind of felt those mother, teacher, lover, sister, wonder, all of us like looking up and remembering who we are, who they were, who's coming before us. So I just felt like really powerfully moved by your music. And I kept trying to sneak a glance at Becca to see what I was feeling she might be. And there was this one moment where you were like, up, like reaching up, and I really just, it was almost like women putting a ladder down, for other women to like rise and sort of lift their heads and spirits. So that's just what I was feeling. So thank you. That was beautiful.
That was my pleasure. And I was just feeling very much, I mean, clearly there's nothing planned in that. And if there was anything planned, it was to not come to any resolution, right? So I just kept on not wanting to stop the conversation. So the fluid movement that Rebecca was sharing really made that happen. And then I was actually thinking of Michaela's thumbs. Michaela's thumbs, molding and opening up the clay. And then, of course, Heather, I didn't know what you were thinking, but you were going at it there in your own speed as well. So
Yeah.
I couldn't stop thinking about the relationship of Michaela shaping the clay and Becca's dancing.
Mm-hmm.
And then as well as your music, Victoria, but it felt like in my mind's eye, it felt like Michaela was like shaping Becca out of clay. Like that's kind of what I was like envisioning in my head.
Wow.
And then like the sound that made was the sound that you were making on the piano.
Wow, that's beautiful.
That is beautiful.
That is wow. Do you have anything to share, Michaela? I know you're still working, but I think you had 2 pieces. I'm curious to know.
What's funny is like this clay, this is one of those things too, or like in this time in life, I feel like we try to do the things that like make us feel really good, but then where's the time to make those things,
Right.
So with my pottery wheel, this is something that's always meant a lot to me and that I've loved doing, but I really don't do it as much as I wish I would. And every time I do it, it's one of those things that, it's like a good thing deep down in your soul to do, because then I like feel so good. And so anyways, I'm saying that because my clay was still kind of hard. Like I haven't reworked in a while. So my first piece was, I was kind of so anxious to get going. I didn't fully get it centered, and like it had like some like air bubbles or hard pieces. So it was like frustrating me, but then like your guys' music and the dancing and like knowing Heather's beautiful mind and what she was scribbling on that paper and like in curiosity to see, it just kind of made me calm down with what I was. And it's like dumb, but I didn't like the piece. Instead of just smashing it, we went for a walk earlier and Kenzie got some sticks. You can't see it super well. So we just kind of like, just shoved it through to like, keep on going. So bringing like Mother Earth into the clay. And then the next one, I just kind of same thing like you guys were saying with like Becca, like kind of like reaching up so high. Every time I feel like I looked up on the screen, I saw her same thing, just like reaching for more and like such like a beautiful like sweet way. So this one I went with the intent of slowing down to center first so that I wouldn't be frustrated and I would be more invested in it, and trying to bring it as high as I can for now. So it's a small skinny piece to begin with. So this was cool. Thank you. I had no idea what what this was gonna be or anything. It was great. I really thank you so much for this moment.
I'm so happy that you're joining us. Yeah, I purposely don't give you too much instruction when I initially invite people on, because again, it's very organic and you're supposed to just come as you are. So there's no pre-planning. I like that you said you hadn't taken time to make pottery, because I could relate to that as well, like not taking time out for, the things that really fuel you or, you're passionate about. I think that's kind of a woman thing in a way. I really don't say that very often, but I think, delegating time to everything else, to your work, to your relationships. I know some of you are mothers, that sort of thing, you're always extending yourself. And I think that's what society teaches women to do. So I'm really glad that you're taking this time for yourself. And taking, wetting your clay and sitting at the wheel and
feels good
joining us, it's women empowerment.
Totally.
Yeah, I'm so happy you're here. And I see your Frida Kahlo earrings. all women all around, powerful women artists. I'm here for it.
Natalie, you had some questions you wanted to ask them, yeah?
Yeah, I think this is actually a good lead-in, because I was my homework before we just got live was I was listening to Michelle Obama's new podcast, because to me she is empowered women, for some inspiration. So I've been reflecting myself on what true womanhood is to me, and what comes to mind is relationships, like I said, or society. What the workplace or what we're supposed to look like. But if we strip that all away, what is true womanhood. And I haven't really settled on that because that was, like I said, I was listening to the podcast right before we went live. So I'm still marinating on this question, but I'm curious to know if you guys have any thoughts or insights. I also know there's some powerful women watching us right now. So if anyone watching has some insights on what true womanhood could look like to you, I'd be curious to hear.
For me, it changes, and I'm not, to overuse a phrase, I'm not as young as I once was, and so I think for me it's changed a lot as my children have gotten older and a little bit more independent, and I feel like certainly one of the roles of womanhood is deep engagement with the children and the family. And I also work full time, and I try and have a creative life that is even separate from work and family. So I think it is a lot about balancing and carving it out. I think that there's also, as I get older, one of the things certainly in music and in media is, just this over elevation of youth. And as I get further and further away from youth, and I get more wrinkles and I get grays and I get, the extra COVID pounds and all of the things that seem to be a natural part of getting older too. I think about, like there's people that fight against that. Like, I'm not going to get old. I'm not going to get old. And I don't feel that way. I just feel like, well, this is kind of, this is how it happens, and there's a sadness in that, certainly, but there's also a power in that because, I'm now a mentor instead of a participant in different areas of my life, so just even by sort of gaining age and gaining some perspective and watching things change, and it's not how it was when I was younger, and now I have actually something to share that has perspective through the years. I think that all is the evolution of womanhood, and going from the child to the young woman to the young mother to the middle-aged woman now, and I have deep relationships with people who identify themselves as in that Crohn's stage of life, So I think it's, and I'm thinking also of Heather's poem that she just wrote, the prose that she wrote along with us, that it's the fullness, it's the breadth. It's not just now, it's not just this moment, it's not just grabbing onto something that you want to accomplish in the moment. I feel like I'm in the place where it's the bigger picture is what I'm embracing.
Wow, that's beautiful.
For whatever that's worth. Right?
Yeah. It's a lot to digest and break down. That's why I appreciate the help of fellow women to help me kind of navigate that and digest it as well.
And it changes all the time. Tomorrow I'll feel differently,
I wanted to read this thing to you guys. It's from another really awesome woman, Mary Oliver, a poet that I love. But I was thinking about even the women that I know on this screen, because you're responsible women. You get things done. You have a lot of accomplishments and education and children and really successful professional lives as well as creative lives. And I just want to read this to you. It is 6 a.m. and I am working. I am absent-minded, reckless, heedless of social obligations, etc. But it is as it must be. The tire goes flat, the tooth falls out. There will be 100 meals without mustard, but the poem will get written. I have wrestled with the angel, and I am stained with light, and I have no shame. Neither do I have guilt. My responsibility is not to the ordinary or the timely, for now it does not include mustard and teeth. It does not extend to the lost button or the bean in the pot. My loyalty in this moment is to the inner vision, the light, whenever and howsoever it may arrive. If I have a meeting with you at 3 o'clock, rejoice when I'm late. Rejoice even more when I don't arrive at all. There is no other way work of artistic worth can be done. And the occasional success to the striver is worth everything. Remember, the most regretful people on earth are those who felt the call to creative work, who felt their own creative power restive and uprising, and gave to it neither power nor time. And I just admire everyone on the screen right now, because you give power and time to the creative self that you are and the vision that you have. I mean, not only is Michaela an incredible artist in her own right, but my children are so inspired. She's their art teacher, you know, I mean, like, and the things that they've learned from her about their Victoria, you know, our daughters are artists and actors, and we've connected and written songs. And, but like Becca, you know, is always saying, sorry, I'm late. And I'm always like, no, that's awesome, because I know she's over there dancing and I hear like the music, and, you know, it's like, that's what inspires me, is like, you know, you're awesome mothers, you're awesome teachers, you're awesome, you know, but like you take seriously that responsibility that you have to that inner unordinary calling, dharma, whatever you want to call it, within you. And to me, that is like woman being woman, and me being a woman saying like, you know, how can I help and empower and support you? Because it's giving life to me and giving me the courage to do the things that I want to do. Sorry, that was very rambling, but like, it was just filled with like, you know, emotion of like, there are so many ordinary things we have to do, like the lost tooth, or, you know, in my house recently, it was the leprechaun, because it was, you know, or the elf on the shelf, or like all the things that we do like as moms. And it's like, sometimes we need to just remember how important it is that we traffic in the ordinary and the mundane, and then the like absolutely extraordinary and mystical and wondrous and creative, you know?
I wanted to highlight Jess Howard in response to your question, Natalie, in the chat, said love, compassion, resilience, connection, and what Heather touched on earlier, foresight is major.
Yes. Jess is also a poet, so yes to all of that. Thank you for sharing, Jess, and for watching, of course. Wow. Yeah, I mean, there's just so much to say. It's hard to wrap womanhood into 40 minutes on Facebook Live. But when I think of celebrating women, I think of the power and strength. I think there's a lot of times, like, even I'm catching moments in here where we're saying sorry, or like muting ourselves, or I'm sorry I'm in the way, and all of that nuance that I'm very guilty of. Becca and I, actually, just a little side note, we caught ourselves saying sorry a lot early on in our roommate-ship. Is that a word? Roommate-ship? I just made it up. Roommate-ship. That was cute. So we caught ourselves saying sorry for everything. We stumble around and say sorry for this and that and the other thing. So we decided to play this little game. It's like a swear jar, I guess, but you just changed everything to thank you. And then there was some crazy things that maybe you could help me with in the moment.
Thank you for listening to me burp. Like, why did I apologize for burping?
Yeah, so it's like, thank you for listening to me burp, or thank you for listening to me rant, or thank you for, you know, things that you usually don't say thank you for, but I don't need to say sorry for everything that I do. And I think that's also a tendency that gets trained into young girls, and then later on into being women. Heather and I were just talking about this the other day too, like CEOs. There was some study we were talking about, women CEOs say sorry like 50 times, and don't quote me on these stats, but something along those lines. And their counterpart men, like CEOs, don't say sorry at all, for instance. And so just all those like navigating things that women feel like they have to do for some reason. And I'm tired of saying sorry so many times. So I'm going to try my best to change that to thank you moving forward. So I think thank you for the accountability in that. But all of that to say, as I'm thinking to celebrate women, I'm thinking of the power and strength. And I'm curious to know what brings power and strength to these beautiful women that are here. What makes you feel empowered? What gives you voice? What excites you? I'm just curious to know. Thank you, Gina.
Well, your shirt actually for me is like exactly what it is. Like, I think like seeing like you ladies here, like for me, it's a tribe. Having your tribe with you, and like seeing like some of like my favorite ladies, like you guys and like some people in the chat too, are like some of my closest tribe members. And like knowing that like you've got like a good group around you that you can talk to, ask questions to, big or small, you know, like in this last year that we've had, I don't know what I would have done without my tribe to keep my sanity, you know, and like the women especially that are in mine have just pulled me through in so many levels. And I feel very lucky that I've got friends that I can talk to in like different parts of my life. But for me, just like a big part of like making through like every day and just like getting the best out of myself is having someone that I can talk to, and like someone that goes through, like walks through a lot of the same steps that I do. And like, whether that's the teaching world, the parenting world, the neighbor world, the Oak Park world, you know, whichever it is, like it feels really good to have someone that you can have like a sounding board with and just kind of get some of your thoughts out or go deeper than you even thought possible too. So for me, I wouldn't be who I am at all if I didn't have just really deep people in my life that like I can be embarrassed in front of and they'll just laugh with me. I can, you know, ask a question, anything, like nothing too big, too small. And they just help me to keep my sanity. So for me, especially the females in my life that are in my tribe are like, I wouldn't be me without them.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Community is everything to me. So yeah. Anything else? Any other women like to share?
For me, it's the nonverbal sometimes. You know, I mean, as a musician, I find that is a comfortable place where I can go and refill the well, if you will. You know, and just always doing things. I'm kind of obsessed with it, actually. I mean, it kind of colors everything that I do. It's everywhere, and I always say that my guitar has always been my best friend, you know. So if there's times, and certainly we've gone through a lot this last year and are still going through a lot, that I needed a place to, and I'm an extrovert, so doing things that are introverted, like coming into quiet and coming into just being alone and allowing myself to hear my own thoughts. That also is a place where I feel like I can find what I need to step back into the next day or the next moment. So for me, you know, sitting down and improvising, I usually play guitar. I just felt like I wanted the fluidity of the piano to be able to just flow with you all today. And in those places, I can find new questions and new answers. And I think that that's sort of a quiet strength, if you will. And then I also love singing with my rock band and, you know, like making it happen, you know, and rehearsing hard and well and making statements when it's appropriate, you know. So it's both sides, but music is always a place where I find those comforts and that wisdom. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm an only child and my father's an only child too. So this whole notion of like sisterhood has always like, you know, like I fantasized about it. And I like my best friends growing up were 3 sisters, you know, and I kind of imagined I was part of their family. And like, I longed for these things like, you know, hand-me-down clothes, which, you know, my friends who had sisters were like, oh, that's awful. Like you get new clothes, you know, like, but there was just something about sisterhood that was so like mythical to me. And then once I got to the age, like particularly college, right, where I was off on my own and I was choosing community and identifying more of, who my true self was. It's that I forget the quote is, I think it's a C.S. Lewis quote where he goes, "What, you too? I thought I was the only one." And like, I feel like I just kind of met with that constantly, particularly with women who are creative and artistic. And even like, I don't dance. I didn't even dance at my own wedding, but like I can connect with Becca around dance and around movement. It was just like this immediate sisterhood. And I mean, I'm old enough to be her very big sister. But like, it's just something that like has been, I feel like given me a lot of power is being around other powerful, creative women who have made a space for me. And so I think like I love to think about like, ooh, how can I make space for other people, at the table, because we all have these pieces of the puzzle, right, that inspire each other, and we're all just so interconnected. So I don't know. I just kind of, it's sort of like your first question about womanhood. For me, it's like truly sisterhood, and that doesn't mean you don't fight and you don't get irritated with each other, or it's like all those things, but it's all just part of the mix of like the perfect imperfections or whatever that Natalie and I talk a lot about, just embracing that and encouraging and loving each other regardless,
Yeah, absolutely. I think we were just talking about that, kind of leads into my next question. And we were talking about mentorship. I hear you guys talk, have brought it up more than once in this conversation tonight. And Maui and I definitely like to talk about action steps, that this is more than just, a little art show, that we want little nuggets of inspiration or action steps or tools that people that are watching can take away with. So as we talk about what inspires and empowers us, I'd be curious to know, how do we empower others? Like, what comes to mind is the next generation. I'm currently teaching young kids, elementary and middle school kids. And every time I show up for a class, I think like, how do I set an example? How do I model womanhood, humanity? How do I model how do I show up for these kids that will leave them feeling empowered? So I know you guys are moms, teachers, educators, mentors. What tools do you use to help empower others?
I think the number one is just make people feel seen.
Yeah.
Like let kids, let your friends, let whoever, like with my students, like I just really want them to know that they belong, and I see them and I love them. And like I will even say that like I love them too, but like I really want my children, my friends' children, like I really just want them to feel like everything they do matters, and big or small, like it's awesome, a new discovery or something like that. And when kids feel seen, like the world is their oyster, I feel, and they can just, there's no limit to the end. So that's like one of my big ones, just letting them be seen and just having compassion and empathy.
Yeah. And sometimes that's easier said than done, right? It's rough.
100%, especially.
Yes. And fumbling in front of them and learning, empathy along with them.
I'm real too, though, yeah.
Yeah. The humanity. That's what prompted me to say humanity too, because it's like, I don't show up perfect every time, and I definitely mess up in front of kids, and owning that. Say, yeah, you guys are right, I messed up. My mom just wrote, stepping into your own integrity and authenticity. And modeling listening, compassion, and laughter. I think that's important. I've learned a lot about teaching and education from her, so I definitely value her input. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Are we nearing the end of the show, Maui?
We're getting close. We're getting close. I had one question to kind of piggyback off of the question you just asked, actually. And I know you'd mentioned it earlier, so I didn't know if you were going to talk about intersectionality at all.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask a question about that. I recall you saying you wanted to ask something about that. So if you were going to ask something about that, then I'm just going to
go for it.
Okay. So as we talk about, how you are empowered in your womanhood and your sisterhood, how how does that reconcile across other lenses, right? Race, queer communities, religion, across these other things, and how do we shine in a way that we don't dim somebody else? Right. So like in my struggle as a Black man in America, how do I shine in a way that doesn't dim the light of women? Right. Because misogyny was a real thing in the civil rights movement. Like even like our greatest leaders in the civil rights movement did not let the women in the struggle shine brightly. Right. And took up a lot of that space. And so I guess my question to all of you inspiring women, all you inspiring white women, how do you do that? How do you share that space in a truly intersectional sense?
Well, that's a big question, Maui, and that's I mean, there you go. That is the question. How do we hold each other up while allowing our own selves to be seen, as Michaela said? And at a certain point, you need to stand up and allow yourself to be seen, and then I think maybe it's our job to pull the others up to be seen alongside, and also to sit down and shut up sometimes. We need to do that. I've learned a lot this last year about my role as a white woman is to be quiet and allow other voices to be heard. So and just listen with honesty and an open heart. My teenage daughters inform me of how ignorant I am every moment that we talk about things. Because they are so bright and they're raised in a different world than I am. And my job is to be quiet and to listen to them now because it's their turn to have the mic. You know what I mean? And it's my turn to internalize and learn. And where I have expertise, I will share it. And where I don't, I will be the learner. And that's if we have that give and take all the time, that light keeps getting passed around the circle. So it's not dimming for anybody. It's just shared.
The shifting center.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Thank you for sharing that, Victoria. Anybody else have any thoughts on that?
I was just thinking, like, asking a lot of questions, that's something that I realized a few years ago, deep revelation, like, all of my closest friends are like therapists and like really good listeners. Maybe I need some of that more in my life. Maybe I was the one who was, sort of like constantly talking and not, listening and not, so I think it was really awesome to have them around me. And like, I learned so much about, don't start off. I think part of it was that only child thing and feeling like I always had to perform and I always had to sort of like, figure everything out and how everybody was doing versus just asking or just like, stepping back and being quiet and recognizing it wasn't, I don't think I was doing it in, I hope not like an arrogant way, but it was more of like trying to make everyone comfortable and fill space versus letting someone else fill the space with who they are and, asking questions about them and really listening and carrying and, as a mom, not offering unsolicited advice, which is not always very easy, but I just exactly what Victoria was saying, like knowing when to shut up is really important.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I would just add one last thing to that. I fully agree with what you ladies are saying. And like a thing that just kept like going over in my mind too is like something my mom always told me like growing up too is like if someone does something good, you need to tell them that. Tell the manager at the store or something that their like server was wonderful or something. And so I think like a good balance of like what Molly's asking too is like of that whole listening and hearing kind of piece too, or not always doing the talking, being there for that. But at the same time, I think when someone does do something that's really incredible, like really making sure to acknowledge them that like, that was awesome. You did that. That must've taken bravery or something. Or I see, like, again, like I see you in this space because if we are always just quiet and listening, like that's really important, but I think it's also important to like talk at the same time too, and talk when it's necessary and like lifting each other up by telling them like, I see you doing this and I think that's incredible. And I value for that. So please keep it up. And that might be all I have to offer, is just saying, I'm here with you or something. I stand next to you, any of that. And so in each of like our lanes, you know, like when it's like your light there, I think being next to that person and like, and holding them up as like much as you can is like really goes a long way too.
Almost like an active listening as opposed to like a passive one. I love that. Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm gonna shut up again and just continue to listen until y'all are done. But before I do, I just want to thank you all for being on our show tonight, and also for holding, sacred space and filling it with this wonderful, divine feminine energy, and allowing me to sit in the circle with you tonight. So I just want to thank you all for that. And usually I always end with the same sign off: and all things echo love. And I just wanted to say that and fill the space with that right now. And I'm going to hand it back to Natalie to close us out. So.
Thank you, Maui. I would consider you a feminist. I don't know if you would say that about yourself, but I've seen you in a lot of spaces that are primarily female identifying. And, a feminist, I think people think men can't be feminists. And I think men can be feminists because it's rights for all genders, and equality for all genders. So there's like this stigma or stereotype that men can't be, and I think that you model feminism, and I appreciate that in you. So thank you for giving us the space, but then also, being here with us, because I think that's important.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, and I forgot. See,
what are you wearing today?
See, I tricked you. You thought I just had on this, but I had under here it says "Select women of color and watch the world change."
Yes. See, you're all about empowering women, and I appreciate that. Yeah.
I'll just leave it up. That was a surprise. It was a surprise.
The big reveal.
The last minute. Oh yeah, by the way, I love women.
Secrets out. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I can't really top that. Just my gratitude, my sincere gratitude for everyone to be here. And yeah, I think it's important that strong women keep empowering more strong women. And I wanted to give, if you guys have anything that you want to share as we close out, any plugs, any places to find you as people are watching, if they want to get in contact with you, what's the best way to do that? And after every show, we always show the visual arts piece. So Michaela, if you can please send me a picture when we're not live, later today. If you could send me a picture of that, I would love to feature your art on Dream Chicago's page. And people can connect with you in that way if they're interested in doing art with you in some capacity, or buying your piece, or however you want to market that. But yes, just thank you so much for everyone that has been on here. If you guys want to just close out really quickly with how people can reach you, that would be amazing.
I can start real quick. Just find me at dreamchicago.org. We've got some fun community-based stuff that's going to be coming up in the next few months, something called Potluck, and there's all sorts of information there. So I know a lot of you guys know Natalie. Reach out to her. Find me at dreamchicago.org. That'd be awesome.
We have a new website too, so that's exciting. People could share their dreams and check out our new website that we've been working on. Quick little plug there.
Yep.
Where can people find you, Rebecca?
Thanks. I am on Instagram and on Facebook, and I think that I usually share the handles.
Mm-hmm.
So it's my first name dot my last name, Rebecca Kuchma. And I actually have been a part of a festival, an arts film festival called the Soul Arts Festival. And April 3rd, this next Saturday, will be the final showing of my film. So maybe that ticket information can be shared as well. And it's all over my Instagram and Facebook too. So check it out.
Yeah, if you guys thought you just witnessed something with her dancing here, you're not ready for her show. It's amazing. I've watched it so many times, and
Thank you.
it has not gotten old.
That would be an I'm sorry moment, but thank you.
Thank you for supporting my arts. It's not a chore by any means. It's gorgeous. Her movement is so powerful and moving. And it's a self-love short, but I say it's an invitation for your own self-love journey. So I would highly recommend people checking out her closing show on the 3rd at 7 o'clock.
Thank you.
And I will include all those links after we're off the air.
Didn't Jess direct that?
Yes.
And Jessica
Jessica Howard is my co-director, lifeline, friend, everything to me
all
through
the
that
above.
process. So
Yeah, it's really, really
it's
powerful.
women supporting women.
Exactly.
Happening in this moment.
Boom. All right, Miss Michaela, where can people find you?
You can find me on Facebook, my name, or on Twitter at Art with Mrs. Ruff.
Art with Mrs. Ruff. Yes, that's amazing. I can't wait to actually do art with you. This doesn't really count as that.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm really excited. And how about you, Miss Victoria?
Well, I had it on the screen there. The easiest way to reach out to me is at victoriastormmusic.com. I do custom songwriting for people and events that are important in their lives. And also, I have a local band called Kettle Strings, and we are playing at the Outer Space on Sunday afternoon, April 18th. So that's a real live in-person gig. Yay!
Wow, we've made it to this part.
I know. So the doors will be wide open. There'll be a lot of air blowing through there. Well, everybody except for right. I mean, we need ventilation. I mean ventilation. That's what I meant. And I've got new music coming out. So I'm in single release mode. So. Come and take a listen, and I'll share with you the new stuff that's coming out soon.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you for all the work you guys do. I'm really happy to promote and plug all of it because I think the world needs to see/hear it. Okay, I think that's a wrap. We did a whole show again. Thank you again for everyone watching and spending your Saturday with us. And wish you all love, and we'll see each other soon.
Thank you.
Have a good night.